everyone. Welcome back to a Methods of the Madness Breaking Bad edition. I'm your host, Patrick, and joining me, as always, is Mitchie.
Hello.
And this week we are covering Breaking Bad Season 3, Episode 11, Abiquiu. It's apparently not Abiquiu. It is a... what did it say? Is a census-designated place in Rio Araba country in northern New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why that's relevant.
Oh, where Georgia O'Keeffe had a home and studio. That's
why. Right.
Right, okay.
Because the cold open, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, speaking of which, let's go into a plot summary.
In a flashback, Jesse and Jane Margolis visit the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum and view her painting, My Last Door. The two debate the meaning of the painting before Jane concludes that O'Keeffe was simply trying to make a good feeling last. In the present, Hank is frustrated with his physical therapy. Maria gives Skylar the therapy bill to pay as they previously discussed. Walt attempts to pay with his drug money, but Skylar insists the source must be unimpeachable. Walt takes her to meet Saul, who laundered his money in the past. Skylar is put off by his flippant personality and his scheme to buy a laser tag facility. Instead, she suggests a more believable business investment, the car wash where Walt previously worked. Saul objects, as the owner of the laser tag facility would ask no questions about the deal, while the car wash owner, Bogdan, is an unknown factor. Skylar offers to help launder the money by managing the car wash. Walt worries that this would make her liable for his actions, but she reveals she never signed the divorce papers and, if married, cannot be made to testify against him.
Yeah, we get this nice little flashback with Jesse and Jane.
So did they actually go?
Well, apparently, yeah.
Interesting. Because wasn't he planning to go on the day that they got trapped in the desert?
Yeah, I swear there was
the
another episode after that where he was like making up for it, and he's like, "Oh, it really had nothing to do," and then they actually went.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What was all that about? This cold opening.
Yeah. So this is interesting. Jesse they're arguing about like the nature of art, and he's like, "Why'd you paint so many doors?" And then Jane's argument was like, "Well, that's the beauty of the sort of mundane, is that it's a different experience every time." And yeah, when she looked at her door, her boring old door in her house, she saw something new every time. And then Jesse is sort of adamant about like, no, like, just admit that she couldn't get it right, so she tried over and over again to make it perfect. And then
right,
Jane says, no, it's about making that feeling last. So yeah, this is interesting. Like, what is this about? Is this about the show? Is this about Vince Gilligan's own introspection about the show? Or like, am I reaching?
No, I think that probably is the most applicable like interpretation.
Yeah. I mean, there's also...
Maybe he knew that it was going to end. Breaking Bad is going to end one day.
Right. And, there's also just like the surface level reading of the plot, which is that Jesse has that cigarette with Jane's lipstick on it, and he wants to hold on to her memory, so he wants to make that last. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, I like that beginning scene. I like more of Jane.
Yep.
And then what did it say?
We get to finally see Hank, kind of going through his physical therapy, and yeah, it's pretty rough, eh? You feel sorry for him. He's being real grouchy about it and dishing it out on everyone, but you can't really blame him considering what happened to him.
Well, yeah, I kind of feel him though. Like, everyone's there, like, watching him, and it's embarrassing. And
it would be
for this dude who's like the macho man. It's really rubs on his pride.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like so fucking funny. In the beginning scene when they're in the lab, and Jesse's measuring the meth, and then Walter's just like staring at him from behind him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's sus, eh?
Yeah. And then
I thought the funniest part of this episode though was when Saul meets Skylar. Man, he's just... Can't he just cut the jokes for like 10 minutes? Like
no, that's
and did
impossible.
You see the certificate on his wall, for his law degree?
No.
It's like Skylar was looking at it, and it says University of American Samoa law degree. Right. And apparently it's not a real university. And I mean, don't tell me, but it must apparently has some link to Better Call Saul, but I don't know. I haven't seen that.
It does.
Yeah.
I love, like, he's Skylar's like, explain this to me, and then he's like, all right, and he gets up and gets some props, like, as if we see him do that with Jesse, but this must just be something he does all the time, like, and he just I don't know, man. He just loves talking. You know, he's like, oh fuck yeah, someone wants me to explain something. Let me get this jar of jelly beans and some pencils. Fuck yes. And then what's interesting is that there's a beat where Saul compliments Skylar for being like a savvy criminal, and Skylar looks kind of like, you know, she like a bit chuffed with that.
Yeah.
As if, yeah, like I think, you know, this is some part of her, I think from here on, like actually she kind of enjoys like, you know, being a criminal, not to the extent that Walt does, obviously, but, and you know, she is like, it is not by her choice, you know, she is forced into this, but she likes the compliment that she is actually good at sort of being a criminal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like how, and she's also pretty switched on too, actually. Like, Saul is right by complimenting her. She is very good at what she's doing right now. And when she gets out of the car to, you know, present the car wash as the alternate option for laundering money, she's crying, which I find very interesting. Did you notice that?
No.
So there was a tear, like just one tear running down her face.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
You know, and like while she... I don't know. It was kind of a move, even though it's like a 10-second scene, you know, of just her showing, well, not 10 seconds, but like 30-second scene of her showing Walt the car wash, and she's just this one tear rolling down her face. It was kind of moving in a way, like, you know, it's all kind of come back to this place where we haven't seen this car wash in like 2 seasons, and we know that Walt used to work there in the very first few episodes, and how much of a cunt Bogdan was, and it's all like kind of come back there, you know, it's like a full circle kind of thing, and maybe she sees that as like, there's like some sort of nostalgia in it or something like that, and that's why she's like emotionally like she's being emotional about it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it was a very interesting kind of little thing to add to the scene.
And then like, I don't know, her not divorcing Walt because of that reason, saying that, you know, couples can't be made to testify against each other, again, just more reason why I think that she, you know, there's some part of her that, you know, relishes being a criminal.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Let's move on.
All right. Meanwhile, Walt warns Jesse about skimming some of their meth product, which he continues to deny doing. Jesse takes what he has stolen to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting to give to Badger and Skinny Pete to help peddle. The two reveal they can't bring themselves to sell meth to recovering addicts, so Jesse shows them how easy it is by striking up a conversation with Andrea, a newcomer to the meetings. He soon becomes attached to Andrea while surreptitiously attempting to sell her drugs. Andrea invites him to her home, where Jesse discovers she has a son, Brock. From him, Jesse learns Andrea has a younger brother named Thomas, although she initially refuses to talk about him. Later, Andrea suggests they use meth, but Jesse declines now that he knows she has a child, and the two argue. Andrea insists she wants to avoid having Brock suffer from the same fate as Thomas, who, as part of an initiation to a local drug gang, shot a rival dealer at a street corner. Jesse recognizes the murder as similar to that of Combo a few months prior. Gus invites Walt to his home for a private dinner, telling Walt that he made many mistakes when he first began working in the drug business. He regrets that he did not have a mentor and warns Walt never to make the same mistake twice. The next day, Jesse travels to the corner where Combo was killed. He finds Tomas there and confirms that not only is he working for a drug gang, but the gang works for Gus, peddling the blue meth that he and Walt are making. Jesse quietly walks away, enraged.
Okay, so I don't know. I keep going on about how much I like this relationship between you know, Jesse and his friends, Badger and Skinny Pete, and then, you know, they talk about how like they have a conscience, and because they don't want to sell it to a rehab group, and you know, they're good for Jesse because it makes him confront like his worst self, because, you know, he's like, fine, then I'll do it, and then he tries to sell it to Andrea, and then he can't, like, you know, he and then this is like kind of toward the end of him thinking or trying to be the bad guy, because just because he has like these actually positive friends and it makes him realize that he's, you know, not maybe such a bad guy after all.
Exactly.
And so man, I fucking love these guys.
He's very reluctant to sell it, and as soon as he finds out that he has a kid, the next couple episodes are really interesting from more of an ethical, like just the perspective of ethics. Like there's a lot of that going on in this, and children seems to be a big kind of factor in that. Like, and that's a general thing, right? Like in terms of ethics, if you involve children in it, then you know, children are innocent. It's usually the perspective, and if you're doing anything bad against children, then that would be ethically wrong always. You know, that's like a agreed upon thing across all of society, and I think This is where it begins in this episode. And Jesse finds out that Andrea has a son and then doesn't want to do the meth anymore, which partially is probably him trying to avoid selling her meth because he probably never wanted to do it to begin with. But also it brings us back to that episode when he had to, get the meth off those two crack addicts, and they had the son there, the redhead son, remember?
Yeah.
And he's probably reminded of that too, and realized how innocent people can be easily affected by this kind of thing. So yeah, you're right. Like it's good to see him kind of going back to being normal Jesse,
Yeah.
He doesn't work as a bad guy.
Yeah. And I love his relationship with Brock as well. Like, I don't know, it's really sweet. He really cares about Brock. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And then also I forgot to mention this part when Walt and Saul are at the car wash, and then Saul goes, it's not, it's you can make any story believable. I once convinced a woman I was Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Which is fucking hilarious because he actually does look a lot like Kevin Costner.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It's just Saul, man.
Yeah. And then, okay. And then lastly, Gus inviting Walt over for dinner. This is like really interesting. He wants to advise Walter on how to be a better criminal. And then he says, never make the same mistake twice. And then the scene ends. What does this mean?
Yeah, I'm assuming he's referring to Jesse.
Yes, that's
because
what I got
straight
as well.
after that, Jesse is in the next scene. That's the end of the episode. So, and he said that at this very start, right? Like, you can't trust a drug addict, and that seems like a big kind of adage for him, for Gus. So, yeah, I reckon it's that. But but the interesting thing is that we'll see later on is that I think it's the episode, this next one or the one after this, where Micah kind of gives Walt advice, and then Walt does something different to the advice that Mike gave him, and then Mike says like, oh, it's funny how it can be interpreted in such different ways. And it's probably what Walt ends up doing with Gus's advice, because you can never make the same mistake twice. It could be something like, I shouldn't trust Gus because I never trusted Chuko, don't trust a drug lord kind of thing, right?
Oh, that's a good connection. Yeah I like that. Yeah, but yeah, like I often think about like at what point does Gus plan on killing Walt? And it's certainly not yet, is it? Because Gus genuinely seems to want to be a mentor to Walt.
I think but at this point in time, I think he really likes Walt.
Yeah,
like he seems to connect with him well during a dinner when Walt brings up that whole neuron shit and memories. He just sees him as this intelligent guy. But he knows what's his name? Fucking who's a nerd again? That
Gail Bedecker.
Gale, right? Yeah, Gale. Like he probably sees Gale as a similar kind of character, but he probably can't get on his level so much because Gale is like a true like dork. But Walter is like more of a criminal mind, so he kind of relates to him on that level, but also is an intelligent guy too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's about all I had though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, sweet. All right, thanks for listening. Join us next episode.
See ya.
I don't get it. Why would anyone paint a picture of a door over and over again, like dozens of times?
But it wasn't the same.
Yeah, it was.
It was the same subject, but it was different every time. The light was different, her mood was different. She saw something new every time she painted it.
And that's not psycho to you?
Well, then why should we do anything more than once? Should I just smoke this one cigarette?
If you like this series, Mitchie's going to tell you where you can find more of these.
Yep, so you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. And we've also got a website, amttm.com, where you can find our fabulous episodes on Breaking Bad.
If you have any questions, queries, insights, or criticism, you can send them to mail@amttm.com.
And as always, thank you for listening.